to Unveiling Africa, an award-winning TV talk show that showcases the beauty of Africa. I am your host, Christine Daka McCary. We will aim to bring you the very best of Africa. We will showcase the powerful people, the beautiful scenery, the interesting culture, the food, the movies, and all that makes it a beautiful, unique continent. We also aim to show our similarities rather than our differences, and also to unveil the hidden treasures of the motherland, Africa. Sit back and enjoy this beautiful show that's titillating, mesmerizing, and oh so interesting. Enjoy. Hello and welcome to another installment of Unveiling Africa, one beautiful face at a time. Today we really mean it. And this is an award-winning talk show, the Beta Award. Thank you for giving me the chance to come into your homes to bring you the very best of Africa. And we talk more about what we do best, our very best, our accomplishments. Sit back and relax and enjoy this show. We have here in our midst today a young lady who has a lot to tell us and a lot to share from where she has come from to today being a game changer. Let's introduce our guest for today, Miss Omololu Ojehomon. Welcome and nice to meet you, Omololu.
Same here, Christine.
Thank you for coming up to my show. This is Unveiling Africa, as you know it. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Omololu? First of all, start by telling us what that means.
Well, my name Omololu means a gift from God, a child from God, and it's typically a male name, a man's name. My father expected I was going to be a boy. He already had the name when I was born, and a girl, he wasn't going to change it. So I'm probably the only first female Omololu in the world.
Really?
Yes, that has
wow.
a first name.
That's impressive.
Omololu, yes. Usually it's a last name if it's a woman, but mostly men have that name.
Wow, I learned something today, and I've known you for some time here. Okay, so tell us where you're from in Nigeria.
Well, I'm from Edo State. I'm from the North District. My local government is Onwan West, and my village is Okay.
Beautiful village.
Yes.
We will let you know something towards the end of this show, what it means to me, that little village, which is not so little anymore. So now tell me your background. Tell me a little bit about your pedigree. I know you're one of those few Nigerians who have integrity and aim to make it, to sustain it. So go ahead.
Well, I'm a country girl or village girl, if you will. But I was raised by, I think, two great people, my father and my mother, both of them highly educated. My dad was the chief information officer for the Bendel State, but prior to that was the information officer for the Midwest region. And my mother was also educated. She was a pioneer for the travel agency business, and actually owned like the first one in the country at that time. She also trained the first doctors at UCH Ibadan in diseases. Yeah, many years ago.
I didn't know that.
My parents were always, and they were community servants, and I learned a lot from them. And I'm also educated. At that time, my father believed that educating the girl child was very important. And I know that he used to say this to me. We're not educating you because we want you to take over the role of your husband in the house, but that you are able and enabled, if anything was to happen to the breadwinner of the house, and that you'll be able to take care of yourself and your children, or even assist your husband, in taking care of the family and raising your children.
Very true. Very true. That is phenomenal, I tell you. And it's very pointed. A pointed statement you made here that in Africa, girl children were not very common with them going to school, having education. So it was a luxury when you sent your daughters out to school. And some people still mention to our parents, why are you wasting your money on these girls? They're going to go off and get married, and you're going to waste all that money. But unknown to them that these women will turn out to be the saviors of their fathers, you know, and families in some cases. So tell me, what, how you arrived at this point in your life today. What have you been doing? You're a mother, your wife, and you've been also a community person. So tell us more about those roles you've played in a little bit.
Like you said, I've been a mother, and raising a family was a priority to me. It meant that all of my own goals, my own career was going to be on hold until at least my kids, or the kids that I was raising, were all fully educated and were doing well. Again, from a background where women are supposed to be the ones or the primary educators of children, which is very important in any system, to make sure that the first rules of morals, of values, of integrity, of dignity, of honor, and prestige, like we'll say, is not bought, but it is bred. And it was important that as a woman that I was able to instill those things in my own children or in those that I raised in my family. Today I am in the community, and because I have no one in the home, I think I've invested a lot of time already doing that. So it's about me now. It's about what I want to do. And I thought that the best way I could give back to society, who has done so much for me, who have given me so much, would be to help raise another generation of children. And that was what led me to go back to Nigeria, having lived in the US for almost 30 years.
Wow.
Because I found a generation of children that were in the street, didn't have any skills, didn't have any values, had no idea of how to function in society. Many of them did not have parents in the home because the parents were too busy chasing after money to try to get more out of society, I guess.
Yeah.
And so many of these kids didn't have any set values. And so we had an issue. We had issue of children who were not educated. We had a whole set of kids that were raised in total corruption because it was no longer about how much you know and how well you know what you studied, but it was about just getting grades. And if it was just about getting grades, then it was easy to either pay the instructor to get those grades or have some sort of relations with your instructor to get those grades or do a favor. And so we had an entire generation of children back home that were raised in total corruption. A total group of children that were unemployable but had degrees. We had people, when we interviewed or we tested, that couldn't even
function.
They couldn't function. They couldn't. There was a one that couldn't even spell her name. We've given them basic math, basic English, that they were unable to even think through and solve the problem. And when we talk about aptitude tests and we talk about teamwork, many of them have no idea of what teamwork is. It has always been about how you dog to get on top and be on top. And so for 1.5 years, we trained. It was, for me, it was research. It was also to test to see if it was possible that after all of this, that we could actually get citizens that, you know, again, that had value. So for 1.5 years, working with some youth, the first thing that I did say was, you have an opinion, and I want to know what your opinion is about society. And they were staring at me like, what is she talking about? Why would I have an opinion? Again, because in our society, children are to be seen and not really heard. And growing up as a child, you're told more shut-ups than you're allowed to imagine or speak your mind. Rather than raising the child to speak their mind respectfully, we just shut them completely down. So we have a group of children who have no imagination, who cannot solve simple problems, who are unable to think outside of the box. It was horrible. So, but at the end of 1.5 years, we had young men, young women, who worked as a team, who understood the values of working as a team, who understood that everybody had a function that was important in the chain to be able to make society well and holistic. So I know that it's possible.
It is possible. And I tell you, people like this make what I do very important, because they espouse their true love and passion for people, for humanity, to change. I call her a game changer, because she's not only talking about the children, she's going to talk more about our political situation in the country called Nigeria, our country. And it's very, very interesting to find out what goes on. She may not be able to have enough time today to tell us the whole story, but we're going to patch in a little bit about our political system as well, and what she has encountered during her stay in Nigeria the last few years. But before we go any further, you may not know who we're talking to until I tell you that in 1984, she was crowned the first Miss Universe Nigeria. So you're sitting here with a beautiful, beautiful royal queen here, not just royal because she's African, but royal because she represents Nigeria as Miss Universe. But she humbly gave up that crown, and we did not know this, because she had principles, and she had to stay focused on her goals in life. I commend you for doing that, because tell us a little bit of that. You want to go into that? Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
First of all, when I went into the competition, I didn't go into it to win. It was something that I wanted to do. My mother was alive then. She fell ill, and when we realized that she wasn't going to make it through, I said to her, I said, Mom, you know, if you don't come out of this hospital bed, then I will not go for the competition. And she was like, no, you must. I've lived my life, and it's time for you to live yours. And she gave me a gift of a set, a jewelry set, which she wanted me to wear for my evening gown. Exciting. Well, she died in November, and we buried her on my birthday, December 10th. The Miss Universe competition was scheduled for December, and then for some reason they postponed it, and it didn't take place until the following year, in '84. I think it was in January that the competition took place. I was at the University of Benin then, so many bosses left Benin for that competition. My siblings followed me wearing black, because we're still in mourning for my mother's death. And we went for the competition. My girlfriend and schoolmate, Josephine Osadolo, was the one who did my makeup and dressed me up. We borrowed everything, from the swimsuit to the evening gown. You know, we borrowed everything, the shoes. I think the only thing that was mine was the jewelry set that my mom actually gave me. You know, but everything I wore was borrowed. And we went there to have fun. We went to enjoy ourselves. The competition, I believe, was already fixed. I wasn't meant to win at all.
And if you would, I would ask you to hold a thought as we go into commercial.
Okay.
How many black presidents have we had in South Africa? We'll let you know the answer when we come back.
People, it's your boy Kobe Maxwell here. Shout out to Unveiling Africa TV show.
Okay, guys, make sure you turn into Unveiling Africa, because you know what? Your girl actress 16 McCain always turns in.
Unveiling Africa, you guys are going places.
Thank you, thank you.
How many black presidents have we had in South Africa? The answer is 4. Believe it or not, we've had 4 black presidents in South Africa. Welcome back to Unveiling Africa. We're here with Omololu Ojehomon, means God's gift. And she's telling us about her first outing as Miss Universe Nigeria, how she became that, and why she gave up the crown. Go ahead, Omololu.
Like I said, there was no plan for me to actually win this competition. We had already enrolled in it. We were going to follow through on it. And then suddenly, the MC at some point, I mean, we were competing, we didn't even know what was going on, but the MC had said that there was a runway going into the crowd and that he wanted each contestant to be able to do the catwalk so that the people in the audience would have the opportunity of
a full view
of the contestants. Well, every contestant that was called before me did not use that runway, and I remember that because it now became a brave thing, because if the first person didn't do it, then what were you going to do? So I remember that I went across the stage, and then when I came back, I stood in front of that catwalk for about a few seconds, and it was like everybody held their breath.
What is she going to do next?
Oh God, when I put my foot in that catwalk, the entire hall just went haywire, because it was like,
how dare
yes, that was daring.
Bravery.
That was daring. And I was the first person who did. Like I said, the other competitors, and then there were fights between the judges. We didn't know what was going on. We were back on stage, in our positions. And then we thought, okay, then they now told us they're going to call 5 positions. That would be from the 5th person, which was, I think, the 4th runner-up. And, we were like, okay, yay, at least we get to be called, quote unquote. So they called the 5th person, they called the 4th. We were like, by the time they called the 3rd and I was in there, you could just see this thing, this moon.
This is
all, okay, we're nowhere.
We're not going to be in this one.
These very gorgeous girls that were competing, and it was like, no, I mean, we're thinking we're going to be 4th or 3rd or 5th, but no, we're not any of this, so no way. And when they called the 2nd person, they were like, okay, we're not in the competition. And then the MC goes, very unexpected, but yes, it's agreed upon, it's a unified decision. This person is daring, this person is beautiful, and he's going on and this talent thing. I'm like, who the hell is this person? But anyway, when he called my name, it was just like, I was standing there.
Pandemonium.
I'm like, are you serious?
In the hall.
Am I really this?
Yeah.
And you could see all of my schoolmates and classmates from the University of Benin. They were very excited. My family were wearing black. They were all on stage. We couldn't believe it, because we really didn't expect that we would win. We enjoyed being part of the competition. And I always say props to Josephine Osadolo. She was the one who made me. What she did on my face, I have no clue. But I tell you, we won that competition. And so went home. I didn't get any of my gifts like I was supposed to, right away. My eldest brother and another friend, who are both attorneys, went with me to see what was going on. And then they threw a contract in front of them. And when they read it, my brother was like, I don't think my sister is going to be part of this. Because I think he was talking about doing shots, posing nude. I mean, we're talking about a country where...
in those days especially.
We're not
that daring.
It wasn't...
We were daring, but not that daring.
So my dad was like, well, if my sister didn't sign this contract before this competition, there's no way she's going to sign it now. And you need to give her gifts, and she's not going to be doing any of these things you have written in this contract.
How dare they, though?
So we walked away.
Kudos to you for standing up to your principles and your, and treat women like they're supposed to be, not trade materials or whatever,
No, it wasn't going to happen.
So you gave up your crown?
Yeah, I did. And the second runner-up...
Very brave woman.
Yeah, she was the one who did all that. But nobody ever stopped calling me Miss Universe Nigeria. And because there was no publicity anyway about me giving up the crown. But then 6 months after that, I went on to be Nigeria's first Miss Olympics, and I was Nigeria's mascot in the 1984 Los Angeles
Olympics.
Olympics,
congratulations. Fantastic.
So it was really nice.
So you were meant to be a queen anyway. Even though you gave it up, God said it's yours. Keep it.
Yeah, it was
and that was clean.
It was very clean. It was, they gave me a chaperone right away. She took care of all my needs. When we came here, of course, we did the photo shoots. We did the Disneyland thing, and I did a lot of support for our teams that
Came to represent
Nigeria here in the U.S. and they made sure I was safe, and they took me back home safely. And so it was very pleasant. It was a pleasant surprise. Again, that was a competition I did not plan to win. A girlfriend of mine, Itohan Bello Sage, she came to me. She said, I'm going for Miss Olympics, and I want you to go with me to compete. And I said, no, I'm not going. She says, yes, you are. She says, because I need you to help me do my makeup, and I'll do your makeup. And then we won. She came out third, and I was first. But it was, again, unexpected. We did not expect that we were going to, because there were very many beautiful girls there that, put out a good, who competed very, very well, very highly. And again, we were shocked that we were considered the best amongst the beautiful girls that were there.
You must have had it. That's a word. Well, let's go on to today. What's she doing today with all this under her belt, all this bravery, all this principles, and all this pedigree behind her? What does she bring to the table as a game changer? We want to hear more about you today. What are you doing, Omololu?
Well, I don't know whether to call myself a part-time politician or a full-time politician, but I'm in politics. And
another bravery. Okay.
Because I found that you can't really make any changes anywhere unless you're part of politics. You have to be in it. You can't sit on the fence. You can't be
a quarterback chairman.
You can't be undecisive on the things. You must know what you want. But one of the things that I also know, again, women in Nigeria and probably most African countries, even around the world, are treated as second-class citizens. And you know where we've been trying to be able to get to the forefront and be contributors in what society has to offer. But again, in politics, women are what we call, I call them endangered species. That's what I call them, because there's a violation that goes along with wanting to be a female politician. But because I was aware of that, I had made up my mind that I was going to have to fight this no matter what.
Yes.
Because there has to be a way for women to be able to
part and parcel
of this without having to lose their virtues, their morals, their integrity, violate their vows, whatever. And it's been a tough fight.
I can imagine.
It's been
I can only
one
imagine.
of the hardest things. And my journey is much longer because I'm not willing
to participate the way they want you to.
Exactly.
Good for you.
So we'll see what happens.
For being an upstanding female citizen, of the world, and upholding your principles and values. But so what do you do now in Nigeria besides being in politics? In what capacity can we look out for you?
Well, my dream is to keep helping the youth, because I think that
that's our future.
Yes, children who are from the age of 30 in Nigeria, a great disservice has been done to them. I think they've been cheated out of a good education. They have been cheated out of skills. They've been cheated out of everything. They have no hope. They are more in cults. I will not go into details about that. The generation were pushed into prostitution, and it's been a very hard fight for them. Hard fight and a hard life, and many of them don't have anywhere to go. Like I said, what would you ask of any politician today, or of any leader in Nigeria, to do for our youths, for our children? What would you ask them to do first and foremost? First, we have issues of them being unemployable, because many of them don't have the education to go with the qualifications that they have. In other words, they went to school, but school did not go through them. They were actually cheated out of an education. So we need to have training programs, we need to have mentorship programs to bring these youths back on track. We need to have adult schools so that they learn how to read and write, because many of them cannot write, many of them cannot read, and they have degrees. I'm telling you, I have seen this, I've worked with them, I know. We need to begin to retrain our kids to think out of the box. It must be solution-based as well.
Yeah.
Because if you look at it, they have a problem, they can't solve it. Then the next thing, if it involves another human being, is kill it. It's always the end product is always kill
destruction.
It. Yes. Let's kill this thing. So there's
no way to compromise or work things out.
There's always more than one way. You and I know to solve a problem. If this way doesn't work, plan B has to be there. Plan C is there. Let's try. Let's just look at it for a while. Let's see what would happen. Yeah. But when the solution is always, well, let's just kill it, then it doesn't leave much room for growth. And then that's what we come into. What does life mean to us? And what are the important things? And if you've ever read many of my articles, I always sign off with one or the other. Either I maintain life is number one, or God will take over governance. It's always been that way. That's how I usually sign off myself. Because I'm trying to also educate these kids that, look, life is more important than any other thing that you may cherish. I said relationships are the first things you must consider. I said, because no matter what you have, without people, none of those things matter. So, and simple examples I would give is that if you built a 26 room palace or house or mansion or whatever you want to call it, if there are no people living in the house, in those rooms or in the house, your house is going to fall. Because, like we always say traditionally, that the sounds of voices is what keeps the house standing and keeps the house alive. So when you have no people in your house and no people around you, then what is your life really about? You understand? It's not about having big cars. It's not about having a yacht. It's not about having a private jet. It's about what you do to people, do for people, or do with people. Because your legacy is always about who you've helped and what you've contributed to other person's lives.
I agree with you totally.
So those are the kinds of values now we're trying to teach our youth, and those are the kinds of things that we're hoping will bring them focus back to the things that are important. And then we teach them how to enhance skills. I spent my first 3 months trying to teach them how to save money and budget, because you say, oh, you have a television. I say, yes, but it took me about 2 years to buy one, because I had to save X amount of money every month until I had the amount to be able to go buy a television. So there's nothing for you to envy. I'm not that much better than you. It's just that I have priorities of what I want to use my money for. Okay, so now and then it was also about having their tools with those who had skills, because I had many young men who had skills but they had no tools. And because they were not taught how to save and how to budget and then how to prioritize, once they got paid after their daily work, they just go to a bar or somewhere and
drink it all up,
spend it, and it was, then the next day was like starting all over again. So, and this was how I started, because I needed some work done in my compound, and I wouldn't go and just look for people elsewhere. I used the youth that worked around me, because it's important that people who were around me were okay, we're fine, we're able to take care of themselves. That's what was important to me. So I used the youth that were around me. And when you walked into my compound to do work, I would say to you, where is your toolbox? And if you say, oh, I don't have, I said, no, you have to have a toolbox. Because you're not going to come here and ask me for a hammer, a nail, ask me for all the things you need.
And that I'm paying you for.
I might as well just do the job myself. I mean, there's no need for you to be here. And so they were like, well, we don't understand. I said, well, this is what a toolbox is. What do you say you are? If you're an electrician, this is what you need to have in your toolbox. If you're a carpenter, this is what you need to have in your toolbox. If you're a bricklayer, this is what you need to have in your tool bag. So when you go anywhere and you are giving an estimate to a person you're working with, then you know you're charging him for your labor. So think about it. For every time you had to go rent a hammer or rent some tool,
you'll never make men's meat.
Yes, by the time you've rented it for a year, you could buy 3 or 4 of those that tools, particular item, rather than investing it in other things. And you're not being smart with your money. And then when we got to, but you also need to save. For instance, your daily pay is like 3K a day, right? After you've worked the whole day. And I said, okay, if you saved 500 naira, for instance, every day, how much do you think you will have in your account at the end of the month?
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, yes.
And I said, okay, assume, and then if you're married, you have to at least give 1,000 to your wife for feeding, for food, so she can cook for you and the family. And then let's say you hold 1,000 for yourself or whatever you need to buy, and you know,
that's
blah, blah,
2,500.
blah. That's 2,500. But you see, you can even save
more. Yeah.
And then let's say you have children, you have to pay school fees, you have to do all this stuff. So you budgeting it, and then the next thing was, but we don't have accounts. We can't save because we don't have accounts. Okay, so why don't you have accounts? Well, we don't have IDs. Okay, so what do? Now the national ID had been stopped for a while, and then we weren't really sure if we could get IDs for anyone. So during the elections in 2011, I registered everybody as a voter because they were going to get voters cards. And the voter cards also were legal tenders you could use at the bank. So they now got voters cards, and then they now use that to open accounts. Okay, now the problem is, well, I don't know how to write.
Ooh, this is tough.
So now you have to go with them to the bank, and then you have to get a representative that would help them. You have to sit there. You make sure you explain everything to them. So most of them have ATM cards. They know. So, and I've seen this a lot where they'll come to the bank and then they'll look for a person who looks honest, and then they will ask you to help them fill out their forms, their deposit slips, so they can deposit money. And I've seen situations where a guy brought in a lot of money, was about 50,000, and he told us he had 18,000 naira because he doesn't know how to count. I've had situations where, like for instance, I had someone who had a condition with his lower extremities, and it was just sweating, and it also had an ooze to it. I had my first aid kit with me, and I just told him, I said, well, I want to swab just a small section because I want to see why. And he just busted out crying. He says, but I've had this for 3 years. I've been to the hospital. I've been to, the herbalist. Nobody could help me. I said, let me just try this. Let's just see if it'll work. I'll swab one small area. If it comes out dry tomorrow and the other parts are sweating, then I'll know what you need. And he was like, okay. And then I swabbed. I used alcohol. So I cleaned one small area, and then I used my Q-tip with my antibiotics that was in my first aid box, and I just, and the next day, only that area was dry.
The others were still oozing.
And everything was. So I went to the pharmacist and I told them what he needed. They gave him the topical antibiotic, and that problem is gone. Because small things like we have people that would have boils that would just reoccurring boils that would not go. And again, the simple alcohol swab has helped to clear, those things. But anything that requests for them to ingest anything, they will have to go to the hospital, to a professional, and that's the advice. But the point is, we want to see, because simple first aid can save
situations.
A situation which has been the problem we've had, where a lot of people have died when they did not need to, because nobody had any clue of what was going on with the person. The person's having a heart attack. Everybody's gathered around
on top of the person, and the person is air. Clear.
Just need to clear. So those are the simple things that we need to help people, and then building chain reactions and getting the community involved. Who do we call? Who can we call? Who has a car? Who can come with a vehicle that can help take this person to the emergency in the middle of the night? So those are things, and it's building communities. Yes.
Building communities is the word. Getting first aid, ambulance
even
situation.
Small clinics. In different
areas of town.
My village in OK is very far away from town, and we had a doctor that came in from the UK that did some health services, and so I went to him and I complained. I said, the people in my village will not have access to this because, again, there's an issue of transportation. And if I were to invest in them coming here, it would be easier for me to invest in you and your team going there to where you'll be able to see more people, and they will have access to you, even if it's for a day or two.
Yes.
And he agreed. And he looked at me and said, for you,
I'll do anything. Yeah.
And so he did come to my village, my local government. We couldn't do more than one day because we couldn't afford it. We didn't have any money, but we had lots of people who came, who got checked for their blood sugar, for their
hypertension.
BP, they had hypertension.
Because those are silent killers. Yeah.
We had some cervical checks. I don't know. I can't tell you the thing. And there were so many things he did for them that day, and you could see the satisfaction
in the hearts.
Yes, that somebody cared enough to even come and see how they were feeling, and not that it was a politician who just came
to show off
and wanted them to vote for him. You know,
and they'll never see him again in their lifetime.
And they were just like, "Are you running for anything?" I'm like, "No, we're not. We just want to be sure that you're okay." And I'm still looking. I want this done on a regular basis. I want to also have people that will have their eyes, that can check their eyes and help them with glasses. We need medication. We need a lot of things. So I mean, these are things politicians can do. This is what the big guys can do. We need small clinics. And you know, they always say, "Oh, the government is supposed to be responsible for that." I say, yeah, maybe, but individuals can
collaborate together and put their funding to get this done. You know, we have so many so-called rich people in Nigeria that can put something like that together.
It is really not enough to get enough doctors or nurses to those rural areas.
Oh my goodness!
And a lot of people will not go because the conditions there are not very
favorable. Yes.
You know, so but the point is that even the ones that are there, they need to be paid properly. We need to be able to give them better
incentives to make them come stay and treat people.
Exactly. Even if it's the interns that come in, at least we will have some kind of medical service that is coming through.
And that is so critical.
And but then you know, and then with them predominantly farmers again in my area. So it's more, most of they're strong, usually very strong, but their major ailment is the eyes. Okay. And again, the blood pressure. So, you know, few of them have, you know, any condition. They have diabetes too, so they do the blood sugar thing. But none of them don't get the regular checks because they don't have access to medical care.
So the ways we can help Omololu get this funding, or get some help to bring help to communities to build better, healthier lives in first of all Nigeria, maybe we'll go all over Africa, but this is a start. And this is something that's very, very rare, that people do this out of the kindness of their heart, not because they're running for government, not because they want to be the next big thing out there. So do you have a website we can reach you at, or would you rather they come through me? And
they can come through you. And honestly, Christine, anybody that wants to just go out there and do it will be fantastic.
You don't even have to go through Omololu. You could do it on your own.
Just do it on your own.
It just takes one person.
Just start doing it. Just get it there.
One person at a time to make a change.
What is Africa's newest country? We just recently acquired a new country in Africa. The answer when we return.
You're watching Unveiling Africa, one beautiful face at a time.
What is Africa's newest country? We just recently acquired a new country in Africa. The answer to that question was South Sudan.
What do you expect to leave as a legacy now that you've been so wonderful to the world? What do you think, what do you want to be remembered by or as?
Christian, I have no idea.
Yes, you do.
I really don't know.
Yes, you do.
I do?
Yeah. I know you do.
You know, the only thing that concerns me right now is for us to all give back. And like I say to many of my friends and colleagues and acquaintances that are in different professions here in the U.S., we need you back home. I don't know if it's better for you to be here, but I think we need you back home.
If only for a few, months at a time.
Exactly.
Start off like that.
Just come
and bring some
home
hope to the people.
and help build this next generation of kids. Help them get off the streets.
Yeah,
help
I
them
agree
into
with you.
professions, and train them so that we can retire without the stress of not knowing what the future is going to be like.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just it.
And what message do you have for youths in Nigeria?
Hang in there.
Hang in there.
Hang in there and stay on it. You guys are going to be on the right track. You're working hard. You have skills. When you go to school, just study hard because you do need to know what you're doing.
Yes.
Because when you come out of there, you're going to meet people like me who cannot hire you unless you know what you're doing. And it's a disservice to you when you don't get that education. Just stay off the streets.
Stay
focused and stick with your goals. Everything, and we need everybody. Don't let anyone tell you that what you're doing is less dignified than the other. The only thing we don't want you doing is killing or robbing and prostituting. Everything else is great. You can be a shoe shiner, you can be a doctor, you can be a carpenter, a mechanic. We need everyone. We don't have any of those things. We need skills back home. So please stay on it, work hard.
Yes.
Just hang in there, and we're going to do our best to help.
Thank you very much. And if you've been watching my show today, it's been our wonderful Miss Omololu Ojehomon, former Miss Universe Nigeria. But not only that, she's also a community activist, heavily involved in the changing of our political face of Nigeria, and also looking for the youths of our future. So she has a lot. She has a lot to share. But she is also motivating and inspiring us all to be part of this change, because she cannot do it by herself. And it takes one man, one woman, one child to make a difference. So I leave that thought, I leave you with that thought, and expect that you will be part of this movement to change people for the better, to leave an impact on people's lives. Because at the end of the day, it's not who or what how many houses you have, or how many children, how many cars you had, or what school you went to, but what difference did you make in the life of a human being? Because we all need help. Thank you so much for letting me come into your homes to share our passion, our love for our country, and also to be examples to other countries and other peoples. And most importantly, that we share our beautiful people who are doing extraordinary things, but are just plain ordinary human beings. Thank you so much. And you can always catch me on my social media website, my Unveiling Africa website, on YouTube, Unveiling Africa, on Instagram, Unveiling A, Chris Unveiling A, and Twitter, I think it's Unveiling Africa. Well, just check me out on my social media network on my website, UnveilingAfrica.com. Thank you so much, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you. This is an award-winning TV talk show, Unveiling Africa. Bye-bye.